Hello, welcome back to Cinema Off, the penultimate episode of this up and down season. It's been a strange old season for us on this pod. We've had a bit less structure. When I say we, I'm on about myself, Sam, and my ever-present podcasting partner, who today you'll be glad to know has escaped the TikTok hate.
Yeah, your turn slightly today.
It's ever so slightly my turn today, but I think I've just escaped it. Al, how are we doing?
I'm all right. I've recovered after yesterday's
Yeah.
TikTok debacle. Mind you, it would have been a week ago for anyone listening now. But
Yeah.
we're back and we're doing another What Football Means to Me, Sam.
We are. We're joined by comedian and Crystal Palace fan. You might recognize this man from TikTok. He's very popular on there, which we're hoping to get to those levels.
We're going about it the wrong way, if I'm being honest. But there we are.
Jim Daly, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing? How's life?
Life's not too bad, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm intrigued by this TikTok hate. I need to know more about that.
So have you seen the Flat Chat? They're like four Scottish lads who do footy tic-tac-toe, so like Norton Cross.
I don't think so. No,
they're good. They're a good bunch. They're a good bunch of boys. We've had them on. We've had them on a couple of times, and we went onto their TikTok this week to do some quizzes with them. And yesterday, Alex,
I let myself down.
Alex got called extremely unintelligent.
I was the Welsh guy, extremely unintelligent, were the 4 words. And that is now going to be my Twitter and Instagram bio for the foreseeable.
Oh, yeah, own it. I think just completely own it.
Definitely.
May as well. Lean into it. Lean into it.
Completely.
Today, I got told I had shocking ball knowledge, which, to be fair, in that video, I can't defend. I was genuinely horrific.
That's the problem with these kind of things is they are, if you go to a pub quiz and you do terribly, no one knows.
Yeah.
Which I did on Wednesday night. If you do it on TikTok, it's there for the world to see.
The pressure.
Forever.
I had to put I honestly had my Swans top on for about half hour that day, right? And I had to put it in the wash because it was buzzing.
I was the same.
I was like sweating. I was like, honestly,
the pressure. Absolute pressure.
We're more than capable of stopping and recording again. Like we could do that, but for some reason we carried on. And in the back of my mind, I was like, there's going to be so many thousands of people watching this.
Yeah.
And I bottled it. So there we go. Total bottle job.
Because I watch quiz shows on TV. My wife and I love the 1% Club, but various ones. And I always think I could do that. I could get on there and do that. But what you don't realize is the pressure. You could get the questions right, fine, on your sofa. But in the pressure cooker moment, that's when it all falls
different
apart.
Different story. I was going like that. 5 pence, 50 pence. That's all it was going like, I tell you.
Talking of pressure cooker moments, Jim, we'll start you off with some quick fire questions. So we always start these with something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. So your something old is your favorite retired player ever. It doesn't have to be a Palace player. It can just be somebody you've absolutely loved watching who no longer plays.
Roberto Baggio.
Oh,
great answer. Top answer.
Great.
I've got
the divine ponytail. Yeah, he's got a shirt.
I've got a lovely little Italy shirt.
I used to have. I was obsessed with Italian football in the 90s off the back of USA 94, which I didn't really watch much of because my parents wouldn't let me stay up to watch it because it was famously US time. So it was like midnight here. But I got obsessed with Baggio during that World Cup, and then I became a real aficionado of Italian football. The Gazzetta Football Italia was on Channel 4. Like it was just perfect. And I got really into Baggio. Then for some reason switched to Del Piero. I think maybe because Baggio left Juve. And then really got into Inter Milan because I liked Yuri Djorkaeff, who then rocked up at Bolton Wanderers about 10 years later. That's very strange. But Baggio was my first love. Oh, what a player.
Great player. Had a cracking PC game he used to play in school as well.
Yes. Yeah, the free kick, the Baggio free kick. Oh my God.
I don't remember this.
Do you not?
No.
I remember early on. It was replaced by Free Kick Fusion a while after. Which that was outstanding. It was like mini clip in IT.
I don't remember Free Kick Fusion, but Free Kick Fusion sounds like an arcade game that you'd sort of play down.
It was a great game. But
the Baggio one was great. You could just sort of float it. It went quite slowly, but like float it in the top corner. Yeah, that was. Was
it those ones where the goalkeeper just sort of looked like that or that?
Like in Jumpers for Goal Posts. Do you remember Jumpers for Goal Posts? What a game that was. Someone must remember that. Oh, what a game. What a game. Right, okay, so Baggio's something old, something new. So your favorite current player. Again, doesn't have to be Palace. It can be. but any player who's
anyone that's
currently
playing
active.
now.
I am going to go Palace for this one. And to be honest, I'm 40 next year. So I'd really try and stay away from like having a favourite player, because I think there's an age cutoff for that, and I think it starts with a 1. So but there's a current player we have who, if I was 16, I would be in love with, and he's impossible to dislike, and that's Ebere Eze.
Yeah,
who is
yeah, we've got a few people say him. We've got a few Palace fans come on and they've said Eze and Elise would be quite popular.
Yeah,
Elise is very, very, very good, but Eze has the whole package in that he's a very nice guy. He's got a massive smile on his face. He looks like he can't believe he's a footballer. Like, I can't believe he gets to do this every day. And when he's on form, which he has been in the last 6 months or so, he doesn't even run. He glides across the pitch. He's just an absolute joy to watch. So yeah, probably Ebbs currently. Well, I'd say be my favourite. If I'm allowed a favourite, being 39.
Great shout. Right, something borrowed. So your favourite player on loan at Palace?
Great question. We've had loads. We've had loads down the years. I'll probably go back, I think, to... This isn't a popular player sort of world or UK-wide, but we had him when he was 18, his first... In fact, I saw his league debut, which was away at Grimsby in 2000. Literally about 3 of us there. And that was Ashley Cole.
Ashley Cole. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Who we had on loan for 6 months in 2000 at the end of the 99-2000 season. He almost single-handedly kept us up in the championship / division, old Division 1, whatever it was. He was... It was like 17, 18, I think. And he was our best player by a country mile.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. And that summer, we made a bid to Arsenal of £1 million to try and keep him. Arsenal said, you know what? We'll give him a go in the first team next season. And the following season, Barcelona bid £50 million for him. And they still turned it down. I mean, he was unreal, even at 18. So yeah, we've had loads of great loan players down the years. But I mean, I nod to Conor Gallagher the last year, who was...
I nearly mentioned him. I nearly mentioned Conor Gallagher. Because again, we had Jim Piddock on last season, and Jim Piddock, he thought the world of Conor Gallagher. We had Conor Gallagher at Swansea. We had him at Swansea, and he was pretty good. Yeah, we may well have played him out of position, though, to be honest.
No, I think we played him in the right place. I just think he came in January, didn't he? Because he was on loan at Charlton for a while, and then he came in January, and I think it took him 2 months or so to get over being recalled from Charlton and then sent back out to Swansea, I think. But you could tell he was quality. He was a cut above,
I mean, I think, if you had Jim on last year, then that is right in the sort of peak of the Gallagher era, because he was we were brilliant, he was brilliant, everything was going great. Obviously, fast forward a year and everything's fallen apart. And our whole team had a Gallagher-shaped hole in the middle of midfield, and it was like sort of breaking up with a long-term girlfriend. You just couldn't. It was like trying to look forward, but we're just like looking through old photos on our phone. I can't believe he's gone. But he seems to have actually started to carve a little bit of a niche out for himself at Chelsea at the moment. And I'm really pleased for him, because he's a fantastic player. Again, a really nice kid. I think everyone loved having him at the club. Gorgeous hair and just a lovely player. I mean, what more do you want in a player?
He reminded me a bit like sort of Torres back at Liverpool. He had that sort of,
Yeah. Who's the guy? Who's the guy that was at Norwich that's now at Rangers? Who was like a sort of an Audi version of
Todd Cantwell.
Todd Cantwell.
Audi
Gallagher. Yeah, absolutely. Gallagher was great. But for any fan my era, it's got to be Ashley Cole, 100%.
Ashley Cole. I didn't even know he was on loan.
Neither did I. I had no idea.
That's a pub quiz question. That it's like Frank Lampard at Swansea.
Yeah, he scored his first league goal or something like that, and we're the only ones that didn't know that.
Right,
something
blue. Yeah. So the player you were saddest to see leave Palace.
I thought you were gonna say your favourite kit with blue on it or something, which you've had many, obviously. Okay, there's 2 here, and they're both from the same sort of era. Again, I'm going back to sort of 90s, showing my age. The first one is Matt Jansen. I don't know if you guys remember Matt Jansen, but he played for left us, go to Blackburn. He was a sort of both-footed mercurial striker with floppy 90s curtains. We bought him from Carlisle for £1 million in 98. He was unbelievable. He then went to Blackburn, was on the fringes of the England squad, and was in a motorcycle accident in about 2002 and went into a coma. and obviously was going to go to the World Cup, didn't, and then had to relearn how to play football and how to walk and how to be a human. He's done a book about it. His book is fantastic. But anyway, he's only with us for 18 months, maybe only a year, but he was brilliant. The player that I actually remember crying tears, I found out he'd gone to Coventry that same summer. This is embarrassing because I think I'm the only person that's ever cried tears over this player. It was a guy called Mark Edworthy. And again, you guys might be too young for him. Another player that had 90s curtains. You can see a theme forming here from my favourite players. But he was a right back / sweeper, very average. Then went to Coventry, and I don't even know who else. Very average player. But when I remember being in Tunbridge Wells Hospital car park, I don't know why I was there. I don't know. I'm assuming I was visiting someone, because if I wasn't, then there's questions to be asked.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions there.
And I remember finding out, and it must have been through a newspaper, because that's how you found out news in those days, that he'd gone to Coventry, and I was devastated. So yeah, Mark Edworthy or Matt Jansen. Your listeners are turning off at this point because they're like,
I want to track down Mark Is it Edgeworthy? Mark Edgeworthy?
Edworthy, yeah.
I'm gonna track him down, and I want to bring him on the podcast, and I want to unite you two for that tears in the car park moment. I want to do that.
Yes,
that's going to be my mission.
Oh, I'd love that.
I'm going to make that happen.
I've already got Matt Jansen's number. We've done a few things, or like podcast things, but I pushed it a little bit, and he stopped messaging me back. So don't go for Matt Jansen, because I think he's blocked my number. But Edworthy, let's make it happen. Yeah.
All right, we're there. We'll make that happen.
We're making dreams come true. I've noticed the theme on your answers already, and it's great hair.
Yeah.
Agio, Eze,
Yep.
Gallagher.
Yeah.
And now these two with 90s curtains. So
I don't know why hair is so important to me. I mean, that's not even a funny answer. Genuinely, hair is quite important to me.
You must have hated Andy Johnson.
Yeah, God. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. That's why I hate Pep so much. Absolute fraud. Pardon me. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something really like, about to say magical, but there's always something mystical about footballers. I think certainly if you grew up liking football, they almost seem, certainly in the 90s, they seemed a world away. Now with like social media, they're more contactable and they all do podcasts and they seem more like us. But I think in the 90s, they felt like mythical beasts, and it wasn't just the way they played, it was the whole package. You know, you had the Spice Boys and Liverpool Spice Boys in the 90s, and they all were dyeing their hair. Robbie Fowler, Steve McManaman, Jason McAteer. There was something rock star like about footballers, and I think hair was part of it. And I've clearly, obviously, that's been entrenched in me, and it's obviously still important to me for some reason. So
I like it. I think
I'm gonna go for the 90s curtains. I've decided.
Go on.
Well, I think 90s style is coming back.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So I'm on it.
Well, I'm desperate to. So when I was sorry to go on about hair.
I'm here for these conversations. Like,
I'll talk about hair forever.
This is what we clip for TikTok. This is what our TikTok is.
We'll get you back. We'll get TikTok back on side. We'll get back on side for you guys with the hair. When I was about 18, I dyed my hair blonde because I thought I was Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. And ever since then, I've been desperate to do it again. And obviously, like an 18-year-old dyeing their hair looks quite cool. A 39-year-old dyeing their hair looks like a midlife crisis. And so you got to be very careful. But I literally the other day left a voice note to my agent, my acting agent, was like, "Hey Lou, just thinking about dyeing my hair blonde. Would that be a problem?" And she was like, "You'd have to pay for more headshots and it would look shit. Don't do it." So, and I've run it past everyone. My wife says no. My best friend says no. The lads from football say no. So I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. But you know, this is not fair, really.
I know. We'll do it together. I'm feeling a bond here with you, Jim. I got to be honest. I need to make your dreams come true. I want to dye my hair blonde as.
All right, anyway, you dye our hair blonde, and then we'll get Mark Edworthy on, and then we'll
sorted.
That sounds like a plan.
It's a deal.
Right. Okay. Who remembers we were doing a football pod? Anyway.
I know.
So,
sorry.
Earliest football memory. We're going to start off all the way back when. We're going to start. What is your earliest football memory?
Sorry, split end him off. That's just come to me.
Yes. Well done. Well done.
My first game, Palace game, was 1st of January 92. Palace versus Notts County, managed by Neil Warnock.
Neil Warnock.
I think his first job in football, certainly first professional job, possibly. We won 1-0. Marco Gabbiadini scored. I don't remember anything about the game, although weirdly, there's a Palace Twitter account called Palace in the 90s or something. They put up footage of that game about 3 months ago, and it was the first time I'd seen the goal in 31 years. It was a shit goal. But so my next game was the first game of the Premier League season, home to Blackburn, August 92. Alan Shearer's debut for Blackburn. And that was a slightly more exciting 3-3 draw. Shearer scored a hat-trick and really sort of announced himself sort of, on the big stage. I vaguely remember that, mainly because my brother went. So I'd have been 8 that year. My brother would have been 5 or 6. And every time there was a goal, he burst into tears. But to my delight, there was 6 goals. But I've spoken to my dad, and actually the way I tell that story isn't true, because apparently he burst into tears in the first 2 goals, and then by the end was really enjoying it. But I prefer my version of the story personally. But I'd say, to be honest, those memories are kind of hazy, really. My first real memory is the World Cup. As I said earlier, World Cup 94. That was the first time I really felt like I'd fallen in love with football. And again, it was like the glitz and the glamour of it being in the USA, Baggio and his ponytail. Probably the fact there was no England, actually. And I think you could actually just enjoy the World Cup for all the kind of madness it was, rather than stressing about England doing well. Although I should say I'm a half Irish, so I normally lean towards Ireland, but they never qualify. So what can you do? Yeah, USA 94. I can still remember, it must have been highlights, because I don't think, maybe early kickoffs, I wasn't allowed to start. I know I wasn't allowed to watch the final, and I was devastated about that.
That is criminal.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it would have been midnight. It was fair enough. I would have had school the next day, but
of course it would have been a Sunday, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Sunday? Yeah, I suppose so.
Must have, yeah, maybe actually. Either way, I was no way I was staying up. And then finding out Baggio missed a penalty was obviously heartbreaking as well. But that was the first time I felt that, that emotional connection to football.
Yeah,
really, I think was that summer really. Yeah, never got over it.
Never got over it.
What's been your biggest high from your time as a football fan?
Oh God, I mean, there's a lot. You guys will know when you support a team that's not in the top 6, you are mostly conditioned to expect them to be terrible and to fail. And so when they do even slightly well, that feels incredible. And then you feel like you have to cling on to those moments, because you don't feel like they happen very often.
Yeah.
And I started supporting Palace start of the 90s, which was they'd just been very good. They'd literally just finished 3rd in the top flight, but weren't allowed into Europe because of Liverpool's European ban. They then spent the 90s being unbelievably shit. And it was the worst decade. Went into administration at the end of the 90s. Then spent the 2000s also being terrible. Went into administration at the end of the 2000s as well. And it's only in the last 10 years, since getting promoted, 10 years ago this month, that we've actually become an established Premier League team. There's been many highs, in the last 10 years. I've seen, beating Arsenal 3-0 at home twice. Never thought I'd see that. Seeing us beat Man United, never thought I'd see that. Winning at the Etihad with Townsend's goal. There's been so many.
Unbelievable.
Best goal I've seen live.
Yeah.
Watching Palace in the cup final. I mean, we lost to Man United again. But, even just getting to Wembley, being there with my dad and my brother and my best mates, like lovely moments. But I actually think the moments when we were shit. Can I swear on this podcast?
Of course you can.
Yeah, you can.
Just checking. mean more a little bit. So, Stockport in 2001, when we were going to go down to the 3rd tier, and Friedman scored in the 87th minute. Amazing. And I was up there at Edgeley Park. Amazing day. Beating Liverpool 1-0, 2-1 in the first leg of the League Cup semi-final about a year later. Andreas Rubin scored an absolute belter. Never thought I'd see us beat a team like Liverpool. I've never heard the Homestead go as mad that day. These were big moments, because literally next Saturday, I'd see them lose like 3-0 home to Tranmere. These are just moments you don't expect. And so I think the highs then almost meant more. But this last 10 years has been absolutely brilliant, magical. This is the decade that when my daughter grows up and hopefully becomes a Palace fan, or she may well actively reject that. But she'll be asking me, tell me about 2022, 2023, because these are the glory days of being a Palace fan, really. But when you're crap, those big moments, they just mean more.
Yeah, agreed. 100% agreed.
Definitely.
We got a few. I was looking the way you were talking about it, and you looked as if you were taking yourself back to those days. And I kind of don't want to ask this next question because I've kind of put you in a good mood. But what has been your lowest point? Believe it or not, that was coming next. But yeah, what's been the lowest point of being a Palace fan?
There's been so many. I mean, there's that again. I'm absolutely not one of these fans that's like, oh, it's always Palace, always Palace. Every team goes through bad moments, and in fact, there's loads of teams that have had way worse moments. And since I started supporting Palace, multiple clubs have gone out of business.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would say probably then the 2 times we went into administration, so 98 and 2000, sorry, 98 and 2010, because we genuinely felt like the club might go under. And I remember having serious conversations with my friends about, right, are we going to set up an AFC Palace? Am I going to support?
Would you have done that?
Someone would have done. Done. And I probably would, at that point, would have, certainly in 99, would have wanted to be involved and secretly want to play. But I probably wouldn't have gone.
You would have had your name up on that little wooden scoreboard thing, whatever it is.
100%. By 2010, I was 26, so probably not as attractive as a player. But yeah, or do we go and support a non-league team? Do I go and support Cole Shorten? Or I don't know. Thankfully, never had to actually have that realization, which makes the last 10 years just. I see. There are Palace fans now who don't remember Palace as anything other than a Premier League club. Because they'll be 18, 19, 20, and that's all they remember. And I'm just and I see a lot of fans and fair enough, every fan's got an opinion. No opinion is wrong, but moaning about the chairman, moaning about progress and stuff. And I'm like, guys, these are the glory days. Honestly, if we get top 10 next season, that's unbelievable for a club of our size, and we will go down again at some point. So we didn't have a club. So, but yeah, 1999, I was quite young, so. I don't think maybe I really grasped it. 2010, we came really close to losing the club. And I remember going to Sellers for a protest the day that the club was sold. Genuinely didn't know if the next day we'd have a club. And so that was pretty. And then the weekend before that, we'd drawn 2-2 at Hillsborough with Sheffield Wednesday, which if we'd lost, we'd have got relegated to the 3rd tier. And there was genuine whispers that would make any potential bidders not fancy us. So again, could have lost the club. So that was a really emotional day. Seeing us draw 2-2. Stern John missed an open goal at the end, and I'll never forgive him for that as well.
Stern John. There's a name I've not heard in years.
Oh my god, we've had. I could do a whole squad of random Palace players. Noel Whelan played twice for us in the 2000s. He was terrible. John Oster was quite good for us actually in about 2006. We've had some random players, but yeah, I think any fan that's been through potential administration. Those are the low moments because you suddenly think all that stuff I was moaning about the previous weekend, shit, that might be gone. It makes you stop taking.
I couldn't imagine a world without the Swans. I genuinely. That sounds dramatic, but I genuinely.
No, I get it.
And I think I'd have to go non-league or local. I don't think I could. I don't even think
I don't even want to say the words.
I've got nothing against Newport even, but I don't think I could go there and feel the same.
Well, you wouldn't. It would never feel the same. And I'm sure you guys are like me. I've made lifelong friendships through Palace. I sit with my dad at Palace now, and he's been going since 1959 or something. So it's an emotional family thing for me. So it just wouldn't be the same if it was an AFC Palace or whatever. But I have to admit, I've moved out to Bucks, so away from South London, which makes getting to Sellers a fucking nightmare. But our local team is called Chesham United, and they are a really, really good community team. And I've started to watch them a bit more. So again, it's a classic middle-aged football fan thing, isn't it? Getting into non-league football. But they are that. Yeah, there is a life outside the Premier League, but and the EFL. But you're absolutely right. It would.
Yeah,
it would just never be the same. Yeah.
Alex, do you want to skip to number 5? My door's just knocked, so I've got to go open it. I will be back.
Fair enough.
The joys of pod.
Who is it? What is it? We want to know when you come back what it is.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
If it's anyone from TikTok, don't open the door.
Yeah.
No, there's a reason he's asked me to skip away. It's because he's got a favourite question. So, the diva that he is, I can say that now because he can't hear me. Right, so question number 5. What is on your football bucket list?
Oh. Do you know what? I've done a lot of podcasts. I don't think I've ever been asked that. That is
really?
That's a fantastic question. Do you mean, I guess it's interpretive, but like in terms of what I want to see, what I want to do?
As an England fan, as a Palace fan, as as Jim Daly, what do you want to do? Anything that you want, like, to get out of football that you haven't done yet, what do you want? What's on your bucket list?
I mean, I'd love to see Palace back in a cup final.
Okay.
Palace win a trophy would be great. Literally any trophy. Johnson's Paint Trophy, I'll take that.
The Johnson's Paint Trophy.
That would be lovely. Only because those finals are just such lovely moments with your friends and family, and they feel, again, for a club that's non-top six, they just feel special. I was about to say I'd love to play at Selhurst. I'm literally playing at Selhurst next weekend. So
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, Palace are doing a first year of Palace Aid. So it's like Soccer Aid, but for Palace. And so they're getting Palace celebs and player ex-pros and stuff. So that should be good.
Is Jim Piddock lacing up the boots?
Is he?
He was the first person announced.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Was he?
Wow.
Yeah. So
send him off royalty there. Jim Daly and Piddock.
I've not played with Jim, so we'll see what he's like. I suspect he's going to be a sort of clogger of a centre-back. I feel like he'll be kicking some people.
He'll either be, because he's quite a stylish bloke, I got to say, he'll either be like your classic centre-half, or he'll be sort of like the David Ginola. Yeah. Like he'll be there at the front. I think that is one of the other.
number 10. Right?
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that's where I intend to play. So I hope he's not. I hope he's that should be fun. I tell you what I'd really love, actually, and this is a little bit like, whatever, Jim, kind of thing. I would love to see women's football, and it is getting better in terms of the coverage and the access, get on a par with men's football. I'd love to, on a weekend.
My arsehole went like that then, Jim, when he went, I'd like to see women's football, and I went,
cancelled. I think I'd love to, on a weekend, be able to actually, and I guess you can in a way, but I'm Palace ladies play a million miles from me, but I'd like to see, I don't know, the access and the coverage is there, but it still doesn't feel like it gets the same attention.
Yeah.
And I guess that takes time. And it has, the Lioness is winning the Euro. The Euros is obviously massive, but I don't know. This is a classic, like, parent / dickhead answer, but since becoming a dad of a daughter, but it is true. Like, I'd love her to grow up in a world where she can see women playing football on TV more regularly.
Yeah.
And when I played at Cheshire United last weekend, and we played, some of the women's team played, and I got on them. They were really sound. They were really funny and really sound. And so I'm going to start taking her to see Cheshire United women's next season, mainly because I can then show off to her and say, I know number 10, I know number 7. But actually, because I do like her to be around that and see it. And it is getting better. It's becoming more the culture of football. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just think that would be, for all the like selfish things I'd love to see, like Palace at Wembley and Palace win a title and stuff. I think actually for like football as a whole, I think that would be a real progressive beneficial step forward for everyone. And I don't know if you guys have been to a women's game, but the atmosphere is always fantastic. Like, it's like football done properly. I went to the FA Cup final in 2019 between City and West Ham for a Yahoo thing that I filmed that never went out. So I must have been terrible in front of the camera that day. And it was amazing. I was sat in like a sort of neutral end bit, and there are ends of the fans, but it's way more mixed. And I was sat with these big, tattooed, shaven head West Ham fans, proper West Ham fans, with their daughters, and I was thinking, oh, I hope this goes well. Like slightly unfair of me to put my perception of them. And I was set next or behind or next to this one West Ham fan, and he was going, well, the problem with number 9 is she's always better out left mid, but when she plays centre mid, she doesn't have the same impact, but left back is much better. And I was like, oh my God, this guy knows. This guy's like invested, and it was just such a lovely moment. And I do think we're seeing more of that. So yeah, that'd be great. But I think it helps that the Lionesses are so good, although they've lost half their squad for the World Cup this summer. But yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, great. Lovely. Right. Double-pronged question. Who or what is your football guilty pleasure? And then alongside that, who or what would you put in Football Room 101?
Love that. Love that big time. So you've had Dave Bibby on the podcast, haven't you?
We have,
we have.
Yeah.
Dave and I are good mates, and we do a lot of football comedy together. We used to do a live show called Jim and Dave Have Lost the Dressing Room, which in hindsight was a very wordy title that doesn't fit on posters very well. But one of the features in the show was called Football Room 101. And it was exactly, we got comedians and stuff to come up and talk about stuff they hated. And there's always something that people hate. And I'll come on to that in a minute, because I do have I feel like my profile is ever so slowly growing in the football world, but my ambition is to get on football cliches and do Mesut Haaland dicks. So I've already got on my phone. This is so presumptuous. A list of what I would say if I went on, like my football lovers and whatever. So I might use one of them for my one-on-one. My guilty pleasure. I don't know. What's my guilty pleasure? There's a few players that I really like that other people don't seem to like. I really like Granit Xhaka.
I like Xhaka.
He's redeemed himself over the last couple of years.
I think so. But over the last year, I'd say. I think he's really shaped up.
There's a few players like that. I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but because I've done a tiny bit of work behind the scenes in football, and I've got a mate who works in football, met a few players, and actually you realise they are just humans. And a lot of the time have stuff going on in their lives. They might have had to move city, move country. Their girlfriends or their wives or partners might be unhappy, whatever. And so whenever a player's getting hammered in the press, I'm normally like, some of them are dickheads. Like that, some of them are dickheads. And so I think that needs to be, caveated. But sometimes I just think you might have stuff going on. I don't know. I try and go on the side of the football. I think Xhaka's one of those because he's actually a very good player, very passionate. And I think it's just been misunderstood for a long time.
Great guilty pleasure.
I think he's probably a guilty pleasure. Not really a guilty pleasure, more of a genuine addiction that I think I need to go and have therapy for is FPL.
Same. I'm the only one who plays it in our group.
I've given up. I could not be arsed with it anymore.
I will send you the link for our podcast league next year, Jim.
Get me in. Yeah, get me in. Yeah. Get me in. I found out on Monday that I'm top of a mini league I'd completely forgotten about, that I'm going to earn 200 quid if I win.
That's unreal. That's the problem. The problem. We chucked a fiver in our boys chat, and we're like, oh, do you know what, boys, put a fiver in. Whoever wins, we'll take the money at the end of the season. After the World Cup, I thought, I'm not asked for this anymore. I don't care. And I forgot about the fiver. If I had remembered, to be truthful, I probably would have contested Sam, but Sam's run away with it now, if I'm being honest with you. So he's going to have my money.
For the 5th year in a row.
Yeah. He
the secret is to just keep doing it. Don't give up, because most people do. And then the other secret, if you do want a little bit of inside information, is there's many, many Twitter accounts that give you good inside info. So go and look at some of the FPL.
You've been looking at them?
Oh, mate, since day one, pal.
Well, no wonder you've been winning.
Take the tips.
I only started 2 or 3 years ago, but my rank is I came in the top 8K 2 years ago.
Oh wow, I'm not that good.
but only because I just basically copied people online. So it is doable. But yeah, FPL I'm just obsessed with. But I have to admit, getting slightly serious, during the pandemic, when obviously we couldn't actually go to games, FPL genuinely kept me going in a way, because it was a way for me to keep invested in football, because watching football was fucking rubbish during the pandemic.
I really liked FPL for the same reason the year Swansea went down. The year we got relegated, the year after, when we weren't in the Premier League, it gave me a reason to watch the Premier League. And I was sitting there watching Liverpool, and I'm not the biggest fan of Liverpool, but Salah was scoring. I was going absolutely mental. And people are like, why you're a Swans fan? I was like, I've got him in my team.
I mean, it's even worse for me because I got 3 Brighton players in my team, and as a Palace fan, that's sacrilegious. But they're doing really well.
All right,
Thomas scores, and I'm getting there. So FPL I think is a it's surpassed guilty pleasure now, but it's. But I have to say, I actually created an FPL. This is so sad. FPL Twitter account, because my main Twitter account, my my work one really. It's so depressing when I go on there, because it's just, I follow a lot of news accounts and whatever, and it's just people. Yeah. The world is going to shit, and so it's just a constant reminder. So the only thing that was making me genuinely feel happy was FPL accounts, stats and inside info, whatever. So I just thought, well, I'm just going to create an FPL account. So I just follow FPL people, and it genuinely gives me the dopamine hits that I need throughout the day. So I would recommend it if anyone's sad about the world ending. Follow FPL. Yeah, it's been great. There's some nice people on there as well in those communities as well. So yeah, big guilty pleasure.
Great. Room 101.
Right, I am actually going to get my list up, but I can tell you 2 off the top of my head. How many am I allowed?
We're going to whatever you want.
Give us 3.
Okay.
Oh, go on then, Sam. 3 then.
So slight problem. What I've done is, oh no, I was reading a wrong list. It was going topical ibuprofen gel. I was like, I don't think that's to do with.
No, I've never had that one. Ibuprofen.
Okay, so there's literally 6 on my list, so I'm gonna have to be careful here. One that I really hate is foul throws.
Oh my god!
Foul throws, in my opinion, are pointless because half the time they never get picked up. The only time foul throws get picked up is when I'm playing for my vets team on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I seem to be the only person that does them. I still haven't mastered how to do a foul throw. They were brought in to stop people doing like long throws and stuff. People can still do long throws. People can still launch it in the box or in the other side of the box. It's a completely pointless rule that benefits no one, that no one even picks up on. They might as well just scrap it because refs and linos don't even bother. People can still launch it in the area. It was a rule from 30 years ago when people had, I don't know, smaller arms. Just get rid of it. It's pointless.
The amount of times I've been in the stands because I got a season ticket and so on, and everybody around us, like we've all said it in unison, that was a foul throw.
Yeah.
And nobody's done nothing about it. But we're like,
I wonder if linos are even trained it anymore.
Yeah.
They might
not know. They might not.
I don't think they bother anymore.
No. But linos at Sunday League do for some reason. That's the only thing they care about. So, in fact, the only booking I got for my vets team, it's the only booking they've had in 6 years of being a club, was me because I did a foul throw. Or I was about to do it or something. Lionel said something, and then I was like taking my time thinking about it, and he thought I was delaying play and taking the piss and booked me for time wasting. So maybe that's also why I don't like foul throws. But yeah, pointless rule.
Okay, we'll take that. Not bad. So what did we have? Foul throws and your guilty pleasure is FPL.
Yeah. So
I like that.
Can I do some more?
He has got 2 more in fairness. I forgot about
that. Okay. When teams tweet team lineups, not in numerical order.
Yes.
When they tweet them in, I guess like
how they'd line up on the field.
No, I lied. Sorry, when they tweet them in numerical order, in squad number order, and they don't tweet them in keeper, defender, midfielder, forward. Sorry, when
I'm with you.
And you're like, why is Mitrovic playing left back? Oh, because he's number 9, and the rest of the squad are all like 40, 30. It is really annoying. And I used to work previous career at the Daily Mirror on the sports desk, and we'd have to like obviously do team news. And if a team tweeted out in numerical order, you'd have to like rearrange. I really had irrational hatred for a lot of those. Well, I guess it was rational for a lot of those teams. Of course, then they started doing them in images, which would be even worse. But I left that career a long time ago. But yeah, just do it in starting 11 and subs in position.
Yeah.
You don't have to give us a formation. We can work the formation out from the lineup. But
that's part of the fun.
Yeah,
part of the fun.
Exactly.
Don't do it in stupid squad number order. It's pointless.
Agreed. Final room 101.
Oh god, I've got 2 that I'm toying with. I'm going to do them both really quickly.
I tell you what, Jim, do one right, and we'll have you on for a room 101 episode.
Okay. I can do. Okay, so my next one is when commentators call Trent Alexander-Arnold Trent Alexander.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
Because that is literally not his name. His name is Trent Alexander-Arnold. You don't say, oh look. Yeah, double barreled.
Oh, right.
No one says, oh, look, there's Ainsley Maitland. What a great player. You say Ainsley Maitland-Niles because that's his name. Tell me why
I thought you were going to say Ainsley Harriott. I don't know why I thought you were going down that road. I have no idea why I went
the only 2 Aisleys.
He's too bold for Jim.
That's true.
He's too bold for Jim.
Bold fraud, cooking fraud.
Cooking fraud.
It's lazy and I hate it. And I just like either call him Trent or Alexander-Arnold or Trent Alexander-Arnold, but
Trent Alexander's
not his name.
Doesn't run.
Yeah. Alex, do you want to wrap up with your next question? Your all-encompassing deep question.
This is sort of our profound question.
Yeah, it is. We tick a box with
yeah, we do.
You know,
it's got to be done.
Yeah.
What does the game mean to you?
Oh man. I wish I'd have prepped this actually, seeing as I did look at your Instagram profile and seen. I mean, is it a cop out to say it means everything? Because it sort of does. I mean, I know I am, as I get a bit older, slightly disconnecting myself a little bit from football, and I think that's probably natural because I've got 2 young kids under 4. I'm a freelancer, so I work a lot of the time. I'm going to watch my non-league team more, but football, and specifically Palace, has given me pretty much everything in my life that I care about, in terms of a really good relationship with my dad, which wasn't the strongest growing up. We've got so close through Palace. Friendships with some of my best friends in the world, 2 of them were my groomsmen at my wedding. Unbelievable memories that I just, never even dreamed I'd see. I think it gives you a perspective on life. I think it gives you an understanding of how to work with people. I mean, not just watching football. I've played men's football since I was 15, and it gives you, I think, an understanding of working as a team, of winning, of losing. I think it gives you life perspective, and I really hope my kids play a sport at some point. I hope it's football. Who knows? Will it be? It might be darts. Doesn't really count. So it's given me, almost everything really. But I am actually, I think, slightly disconnecting from it a little bit. But I think that's natural the older you get, and if you have kids and stuff. But it's given me so much. And I always was a little bit embarrassed being a football fan growing up, and I think that is probably a tale of a kid of the 80s, and in the 80s football fans were very much chastised for being hooligans and stuff. And I hope you guys can, after 45 minutes chatting to me, say I'm not a hooligan. Mainly because hooligans don't say the word hooligan. But hooligan. But I've certainly I've definitely shaken that tag off, and I'm definitely not embarrassed to be a football fan anymore, and I'm very proud of what it's given me. So it's been a fun. I wouldn't have been a football fan if it wasn't for my dad. I don't think. Maybe my brother was really good at football, and I got really jealous, and that's what got me into playing actually before supporting Palace. But I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that I've sort of fallen into that life.
Lovely. I love those answers.
Answer. Yeah,
I love them. They're great. Jim, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for joining us. We would be very keen to have you back on a Room 101 next year.
I've already got 4 on my list. I'll do another 6, and we'll do 10.
Yeah,
because that'll be easy.
Sorted.
We'll see if we can fetch someone on. We'll do a bit of a battle going on.
Great.
Get Dave on. Get Dave on, and we'll do me versus Dave. Room 101.
There we are. Sorted. Right. Do you want to tell people where they can find you, sort of social media and the like?
I'd love to. Yeah, thank you very much. So my handle on pretty much every platform is at Jim Daly Comedy, and that's Daly spelled Daly. To be honest, put in Jim, you'll probably find it. I don't know why I need to say that, but people didn't spell my name with an E and an I sometimes. But it's the Irish version, which I'm very proud of, which used to be O'Daly actually, which would have been even cooler. But anyway, no one needs to know about that. On pretty much any platform, the platforms that I'm probably most active on are Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and actually Facebook has suddenly got busy recently. So if you like football, funny football sketches, silly football parody songs, anything like that, then come and find me on any platform, because I have a lot of spare time in my hands and feel it mucking around.
Lovely.
So do we.
As do we.
It's the way to be.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us, Jim. Thank
really
you guys for listening as well. We're back next week with our last one of the season with, as 2 Swansea fans,
that's a special
we are excited for, who I'm not going to
special. We won't do that.
Knowing my luck, the guest will cancel.
He'll cancel.
We're very excited. So tune in next week. Keep an eye on your socials, and we'll see you then. Ta-ra.
Take care.